I was working out. Take it.
Oh.
So today I'll be talking about an overview of Visual Studio. I won't get into a lot of how to work a lot of the features. I'll be mainly introducing what Visual Studio offers. So the first thing you would want to do is go download Visual Studio. You can download at visualstudio.com/downloads. The community edition is free, and then all the others you have to pay for. So more than likely you're going to get the community edition. Then when you download it, it'll open up the installer. With the installer, it'll say install, but plenty of options. With the installer, you select which packages you want. There's a ton of them, from just window applications, web development, database, gaming. Then there's even Linux development. And there's mobile app development and all that packages. Then there's a bunch of individual components and all that, and then different languages. Since everything already downloaded, installed, we're just going to close those. And then once you get it, it'll open up a sign-in page where you create an account for Microsoft, and then you can edit your preferences and your background. So first thing first is you're going to open up a new project. You're going to go up to the top, go to File, then select New, then either project, website, or just an individual file. Difference between these is projects are just desktop applications, mobile applications. Whatever websites are just websites. And files, you can use that if you just want an individual file. You can't actually run those in Visual Studio, because Visual Studio requires it's called a solution file. And those are only generated with projects and websites. So let's go and create a new project. Then as you can see, there's a ton of different templates that you can select from. Then it organizes it by language, programming language. As you can see, Visual Studio provides templates for C#, Basic, C++, F#. You can make projects for SQL Server, R, then JavaScript, Python, PowerShell, then TypeScript. Inside of all of these, there's a ton of different templates. So what we're going to do now is let's open up a Python one. First of all, we are going to select a Python application. Then we can name it. I'm just going to keep it as a default application name. Then I'm going to keep it as a location. This may take a few seconds as it generates all the files and makes all the templates. So as you can see here, we just have a plain text file. So I'm going to make a simple Python program that just calculates two numbers. So 1, this number. So I have my simple Python program. To run it, send Python. You don't have to compile it, just interpreted language. Go to debug and then start without debugging. Then it pops up a window. You put in your first number 5, then 3, then it says 8. So one of the things you can do, since Python, you can download different environments. You can run in different environments. So right here, this lists the default one right here. But if we right click, we can go to we can add remove Python environments right here. Then as you can see on my laptop, I have Python 2.7, Python 3.6, and Anaconda. All this can run. Then you can select those and run Python for different ones. Then also you can, where was that? One second. There we go. Then a simpler way to change it, you can pop this window. It should be under, when you right click your environment, on the first page it'll pop up view all Python environments. And once you click that, it'll give you all these. You can update them from here and select them to run. But we're just going to leave that for now. So now what we're going to do is we're going to close this solution. And we're going to open a new project. We're going to go to C++, then open the down arrow, go to Windows Universal, and go to DirectX 12. See why I want that one here in a second. Whenever you're making a desktop app, it'll ask you to select what version of Windows you want to use it for. There's a target version, and then there's a minimum version. So we're just going to leave those as the default. This template is quite a bit larger than the Python one, so it'll take a few seconds. Okay, so once it has it loaded up, we're going to close out the Python environment window over on the side since we don't need it. You have this panel on the right side called the Solution Explorer. This lists all your files. There's assets, which just contains a bunch of PNG files that you use to make your app. Then there's a bunch of common content, which contains most of your source files for this particular project. And so we're going to first build the solution. What you do is you go up to the top, press your build, then build solution. After you build it for the first time, it doesn't matter if you press rebuild or just build, they work the same way. This will take a minute or so. Download or compile. All right, so it looks like it's done now. So to run it, you go up to debug. You can either start it with a debugger or start it without. Then it tells you which keyboard commands. There's say run it without going to this menu. We're going to do without debugging first. And this is what the template gives you. It's just a rotating cube. But one of the nice features involved with graphics in Visual Studio, so if you're using DirectX or even if you download OpenGL, if you go to debug and go down to graphics, say start graphics debugging. Then yes, just be a second while everything loads up. Takes quite a while to start up if you have the debugger going. Okay. So we have it going. Then as you can see on the top, it gives you a bunch of information or some information on the debugger. So we're going to bring that down. Then this frame tells you the frame or how long each frame is on, then the frames per second. This is so you can tell if you have once you actually start building it, you'll soon realize that, or writing your own program, you'll realize that there's certain parts where like you may have something going on wrong and your frame rate will drop down significantly. This will tell you or how much it drops down, and then you'll get a better idea where it's going on because you can see it from here. What's going on. Then say if you want to modify something in your program, say you don't like how something looks, but you're not exactly sure what's causing you to feel that way, you can go to capture frame. You can select the number of frames to capture. So we're going to go with 5 now. Then we're going to press capture frame. Then it captures 5 frames per video. Then you can see and you can pinpoint what exactly doesn't look right, or if you want to make sure everything's lining up, you'll be able to do that. So we're going to close that window. Yes, we want to cancel that. About that later. And so, say if you want to make sure if you want write a program that runs in OpenGL2 and not just DirectX 12, you'd first have to download and install OpenGL. If you have it on your computer, you just have to set up your compiler to check that certain location. Then to do that, you click your solution file up at top, right-click it, go down to Properties. That's from the screen. You go to App4, your project name, not your solution file. Then here you can select your linker where it gets input files. Then yeah, this is where you make all your modifications to how you actually compiles and builds your programs. But say if you just want to have like a local version of OpenGL that this project only uses, say you have an older version on your laptop, but you want to keep that one. What you do is you right-click your project name again, go to manage NuGet packages. Then on this screen, what it does is you can search for different libraries, OpenGL, any kind of library that NuGet has. So OpenGL. So as you can see, NuGet does have OpenGL. Let's see if I can remember which one actually works. Fortunately, NuGet does have a lot of ones that aren't the full versions, that are just individual things. So okay, we're going to just download one that won't necessarily be OpenGL. So we're going to click it, and then we're going to go to install. Then it's okay. Set the license. Then Visual Studio installs it, and then it'll automatically be linked to your project. Then it should generate this file. It's called packages.config. This is where it's an XML file that has all your packages, so your linker knows what to include. That way, if you have any version or libraries on your computer, you can just enter it through here. So we won't close that, and then that. And so, one of the nice tricks that Visual Studio uses, say if you have a function that's not quite working right, let's just go to that one. Let's open up that file. Then let's just pick out a function. Let's go to read data async. You want to highlight it. Then you're going to go to declaration. Then Visual Studio will bring you to the file that it declares it in. So you can see how exactly it's working, and then you can make modifications to it from there, so you don't have to go through your entire computer and find it. But this also works for variables. So let's just do pixel shader. Go to declaration. Then it brings it to the file where it declares it. Also, so you can change the type of our variables and whatnot. And so, to start your regular debugger, not the graphic debugger, you just click debug or debug again, then start with debugging. It's out of date, and when it's out of date, you just have to rebuild it. Then it pops up with a window on the side here. You can make it larger. That has different, it tells you how much memory your program is using, so you can find out if you have a memory leak in it. Then if you're in a normal project and not DirectX, you would have or be able to put in breakpoints, so you can see what variables or what values the variables are. Whatever, we're going to close that now. Stop that. And so some of the, say if you want to make like a cursor file, saying you're making some desktop application, you want a custom cursor file, you can either go to File, New, then go to File. Then it gives you all these different templates or file types. So we'll go to General, and then we run cursor file. Another way you can do it is you click on the folder over here, right-click it, then you can then add a new item to that folder. That way you don't have to make it and then move it to that folder. Then here it automatically filters what data types you want or what file types you want used in your project. So if you have a project in C++, it won't give you like C# files. But we want a resource and then a cursor file. We'll just add that. Then here, you can edit your cursor file, make however you want. I'm not too familiar with how this works, but this is how you would get to that point where you actually make it. Some other things that you can make that I find kind of neat is if you want like to image files, or say if you want have an icon file for like if you want to make a shortcut on the desktop, you'll click icon file, and then this is where you would edit it. And you'll get a similar string if you are a screen. If you want, just make a simple JPEG file. Let's see, there's bitmap. Oh, it's not there. Yeah. If you go to graphics, it'll give you like bitmap, images, GIF, JPEG, PNG files, all that. But one of the things that Visual Studio does include is it has a 3D model editor. To start it up, you would have to create a file of a 3D scene. Just want to make that. Now, this again, I'm not too familiar with how it works, but this is where you would go. You would have your toolbox on the side here where you can add a cylinder, a sphere. We can drag and drop. There's a sphere pop up, and then you can modify it. Well, one of the things that Visual Studio does say is a 3D modeler is only used for, you would load your 3D model into Visual Studio. You can make minor adjustments in Visual Studio, but it says if you're going to make something from scratch, or if you want a complete overhaul, you should use a different software, such as Blender or any other 3D modeler. It's not very powerful. But let's see. Then also with DirectX, you can add different shaders. Right here, let's just open a vertex shader. And here is where you'd write your actual shader map. So now, actually there's another thing if I can. There is a way that you can make UML diagrams in Visual Studio. I'm not sure if I actually have it installed. But in your installer, if you go into the additional files, there will be a UML class diagram where it would enable you to add it to your download. But now let's show you, let's go make a website for now. I want to make one basic. You're gonna make a web form site. I'll close this solution first and then open up the new one. And in case you don't like the load times, Visual Studio 2017 has made great improvements over Visual Studio 2015. It used to be a lot worse. Still not where it should be, where it's good, but it's a lot better. $12 gigs. The thing that takes this along, well, on the web forms application, or if you're making a web form website, is there's a drag and drop feature, which I want to show off. So I need to load up all the drag and drop features and XML files that are incorporated with it. Because if you see on the side here, it does give you like all these files. But I'll show you. websites. That's not a good one. When you actually make a project, and it'll include like all the header files that come with the language or whatever, but it will not actually include it in your apps that you made. So let's just go with this one. Yes, as you can see, there's no C++ header files that include like IOStream, but it does show up on the side so you can easily open it up and you can see how those things work. But for this, so once you have a project made, you go up to the top. It'll either be project or website, whatever you make. You want to go to add new item. Then you're going to add a web form. Then certain types of files, if it has a drag and drop feature, if you go to the bottom, have a source button and then a design button. If you think it's a second, I'll load up. What's this one? Yep. So on the source, this is where you do all your drag and drop, and then you can even type in here if you want to have labels in a certain spot. Let's see, the toolbox should be on the left side over here, but it's not. So let's go to toolbars. Then if you want to add different toolbars, this is where you go into view and then down to toolbars. This is where you add them for easy access to the different features. But we want a toolbox. This is where it contains all your drag and drop features. So to add in, let's just add a button for now. You drag onto the screen, it has button. Then over on the right side, it has all the different attributes for that button. You can rename it, how it behaves, and all that. But say if you want to have a certain, if you want the button to do a certain thing on your website, you would just double click it. And then Visual Studio automatically creates a file and then a function that will utilize that button. So say if you want to have a submit button and then put stuff into a database, this is where you put all your code for that. So let's close that out. So I think that was all I had for Visual Studio, but there's if you have a good place to go for more help, you go to help up on the top screen, go to view help, then it will open up a web site with all the Visual Studio 27 documentation. This is where you get all of your help. Fortunately, it's quite a lot of documentation, so you have to comb through and find what you need. It has documentation for C++ or Visual C++, C#, Visual Basic, and pretty much everything you would possibly need help with. Then some other programs that work well with Visual Studio is there's a program called Visual Studio Blend. Actually, in the installer, you can select it to install alongside Visual Studio. Then Visual Studio Blend is where you'd go. It's more powerful than Visual Studio's drag and drop, but that's where you'd go to make your UI. You can customize your buttons and all that. Then say if you have just a couple files you want to edit, except you don't want to open up the entire solution, you can download what's called Visual Studio Code. That's also free. Very lightweight, opens up super fast. Good for just single files and all that. Even if you want to get into large projects, it does support it somewhat. It does have a debugger. Well, you can set up a debugger in it, But yeah, super lightweight, super fast. Then one more thing is I haven't played around with it much. There's a program that you can download. It's a SQL Server. Let's see. Yeah, Microsoft SQL Server Management. And that's going to take forever to open up. But you would open it up, and then that's where you can create a database for your program, edit different queries, make new tables, and all that. And so, does anyone have any questions? Thank you.